Well, hey there. We're at Wednesday already, and I'm a little late, sorry. But I want to start talking a little bit today about tying symptoms in to labs. And I think this is where it becomes really, really important because, we talk all the time, traditional medicine, you've got your big normal window. So you go from healthy to a disease. So healthy to, I got to put you on this medicine because you have A, B, C, and D wrong. But I've been saying all week to my patients, I am looking for the Goldilocks normal window. My optimal lab values that I look for are a very, very small window because I want you to be symptom free. Now, can we always get that little optimal window? No, it's a constant battle, right? Things are always changing. But when we look at the nitty gritty of labs, this is what we're looking for and tying everything in, right? So just because your symptoms aren't bad enough for a medication doesn't mean that you're not feeling them, right? So we need to listen to them and start paying attention and then try to connect the dots to figure out what the problem is. And by the way, you don't have to connect the dots. Work with me. That's my job. You shouldn't have to do that. So on a CBC and differential, when we're talking about your red blood cells, an MCV, which is your mean corpuscle volume, greater than 92 can tell us that you're having a B12 or a folate deficiency. This can be impacting your oxygen. I was misdiagnosed many years ago by some moron who told me to take a rescue inhaler on the tennis court. When I looked at my labs, I was anemic. I was so low normal, I started taking an iron supplement, and guess what? My exhaustion and my so-called exercise-induced asthma was gone. So if you don't have enough circulating oxygen in your blood, you're gonna get winded. You're gonna have a difficult time, keeping your oxygen level circulating. Next, so that's your MCV less than 92, or I'm sorry, greater than 92. A low free T3, and this is what we say, no one checks, not many people check. I just talking to somebody the other day, their endocrinologist wasn't getting a T3 and T4. That made me super sad. An endocrinologist should know better. So a low free T, keeping in mind T3 is the fast burning thyroid hormone. That's what gives you the energy. That's what helps your metabolism. That's what helps everything. So as you're not getting the T3, the thyroid hormone that you need into your cell, and that can equate to low mitochondrial function. Mitochondrial function is the powerhouse of your cell. That's the energy source of your cell. If we're not feeding it or fueling it, you're gonna feel pretty crappy. Low magnesium. I like to test magnesium and all minerals in hair tissue mineral analysis test because from there, we can see a 3-month pattern of what your minerals are doing. In blood work, that is a one and done. That moment in time, that is what your minerals are. Minerals are so, so important to everything, every bodily function that chances are they're pretty normal in your circulating blood volume. If they're not, you're really feeling it on a cellular or tissue level. So a low magnesium on an HTMA basically equates to you not having a spark, like no energy production. So couple that with low free T3 and that mitochondrial function, that little energy cell in your cell, it's puttering, literally puttering. And now let's talk about low potassium. One of those other minerals that is so vitally important that your cells are going to steal it from your tissue and your bones. Adrenal fatigue, low potassium, adrenal fatigue, and flatlined cell potential. Like you just have not a whole lot. Basically, your gas tank is full, but the spark plugs aren't firing. So your car's not going to run. And now that gives you a little view of mineral imbalance and oxygen circulating volume in your blood. Now, anxiety, mood swings, irritability. This is so physiological, and it is not in your head or just that you're in a cranky mood. That's BS. So low magnesium is no GABA support. Pharma-GABA is the calming mechanism of your parasympathetic nervous system. With low magnesium, you've got no GABA support. Think about like your mind is just off to the races. There's no controlling it. There's no, gotta calm things down. You don't have it. So that anxiety and that irritability, you're just racing. Low magnesium. High calcium on your HTMA literally blunts your emotion. It shuts down your emotion, gives you kind of, we call it a calcium shell, almost like an armor, and you have a very flat affect, kind of, the lack of motivation, there you go. And you overthink things. So you kind of have a little lack of motivation, but your mind is just racing. Low B12, zinc, or folate, you throw that into the mix, and that is poor neurotransmitter production, brain fog, not real clear with things. Now, let's add in the low blood sugar. A1C less than 5, usually that's a good thing. But when you put it in combination with all the other things, that will cause a hypoglycemic roller coaster, giving you shakiness, irritability. So if you're feeling that after a meal, then you're having too much of a crash. So you want to stabilize that. And again, it's never one thing. This is how all of these things are related. Your low magnesium, your high calcium, low B12, zinc, or folate, throw on top of that a little blood sugar dysregulation. It just makes everything worse. And you cannot meditate this mood swing away. The anxiety, you can't calm yourself out of it because it is a mineral crash. Now, let's talk about bloating and digestive drama. So, if your belly talks a little bit more than your PCP does, listen to your belly, listen to the gut. That's where I start in my group program and my one-on-one program. We can get 80% of the benefit, getting rid of all these crappy feelings, that bloating, the brain fog, any skin issue, any of that funk. 80% of it gets cleared up once we get the gut cleared up. And I say it all the time, it amazes me how quickly it can happen, but within a week, the bloat is gone. Within 2 weeks, you're having a normal bowel movement every day, not stressing over it, not feeling like you're pregnant by the end of the day, and your energy in the afternoon is back in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I'm telling you, that is what I see all the time. You do what I say, you follow the program, and those are the results you're going to have. And then it's just a matter of building one little step on top of the other. So now let's go back to this bloating and digestive drama. So a low sodium on a hair tissue mineral analysis test If that sodium is less than 25, that means you have very poor digestive fire. We talk about digestive fire being that acid, that fuel that breaks down your food to allow you to absorb it. If you are not breaking down your protein, you can be eating lots of protein, but you can still be protein deficient. And we don't like that. I want you to use everything you have. So you need to have enough intestinal fire and digestive fuel to break down everything. Low sodium in your mineral patterns, in your hair, show us poor digestive fire. High calcium magnesium ratio, and you know I talk a lot about balance. Everything, hormones, minerals, everything has a partner, and they have to be balanced or working together. A lot, hormones especially, work as like a lock and key. You need to have the receptor open and ready to accept the hormone. Your minerals need to have their partner and they need to be balanced. So a high calcium magnesium ratio equals a sluggish bile. Now, not bowel, as in a bowel movement, but bile, the secretion that helps break things down. Most importantly, fat. So if you have a sluggish bile production, gallbladder, right? That's what produces our bile. We have poor fat digestion. Poor fat digestion promotes bloating after meals. So see, it's never simple, people. Low zinc. Low zinc usually equates to low stomach acid. Again, go back up 2 points prior. Low stomach acid, protein is not absorbed. Protein will just kind of sit in your gut and just sit there, rot away, cause the bacterial overgrowth and contribute to that imbalance because it's not able to be digested. Then we have elevated eosinophils and high basophils. And that, when I talk about the 5 white blood cells that are in the differential, in a CBC and differential that so many PCPs don't even order. The whole test, people, CBC and differential, the whole test costs $4.60. Yes, $4.60, because I use cash labs that are much less expensive than insurance-driven labs. That's another story. Anyway, eosinophils and basophils, along with neutrophils, monocytes, and lymphocytes, they are your 5 white blood cells. Based on how they shift and what the number is, shows us so much. So going back to the bloating and digestive drama, the elevated eosinophils and elevated basophils show that you have a low-grade food sensitivity or histamine overload. And any food sensitivity gives us histamine overload. Think about histamine as, you got stung by the mosquito and you've got that red raised wheal and it's itchy as anything. That is a histamine reaction. And when your gut is struggling and those eosinophils and basophils are elevated, that is your gut literally having a reaction to the foods and the things that it cannot process and break down. So bloating, it's not normal. It's not just I have a little gas. It's not the broccoli. It's your minerals. It's your bile. It's enzymes. They are calling for help. They're waving the white flag. And so much of this needs to be listened to. These are all the little tiny nuances that I look at when I'm looking at labs at my Goldilocks level. So let's stop looking for health disease. It's not that simple. Let's dial it into that optimal health. I hope this helped you today. I will see you Friday God only knows what I'll be cooking. But apparently I should make something snacky because I'm hearing that people like that. Have a good one.